So I thought I'd share some of the sweaters that I got. And yeah, so I picked up quite a lot of things, but usually what I do is I buy a lot of things and then I plan to return them all. Probably like 90% of the things. I have a collection of sweaters, a lot of cardigans, sweaters, that kind of deal. The first one is sitting on my lap and it is huge. So I'm not really gonna be able to hold this up or anything, but I do have probably cutaways maybe on the side. I don't know, left or right, I'll make a decision in post. But this is a really large cardigan. This is actually, I think, this is not the one that I think was actually on sale. So basically you have to purchase $70 worth of like regular merchandise, like non-sale merchandise, in order to get free shipping. So this was one of the items. So this one was not on sale, but I thought I'd just check it out just in case. And you know, I can always regularly return them. Same with the sale items. So this is a very large, super large cardigan. I really liked some of the knitting. As you can see, there's a lot of different kind of knit styles here and there. There's like a cable knit, there's this really chunky one, and then there's even this chunky one, and some of it is quite loose knitting as well. Here's a sleeve, and I thought, why not just try it out? I can always return it if I don't like it. But here's the thing, I did try it on and it just feels a little bit, it doesn't feel special. It doesn't, to me, I don't think that it feels like it's worth how much money I paid for this. It wasn't on sale. I'm not super jazzed about it. So I think this will actually be a return, unfortunately, which is fine. I don't need this in my wardrobe. I have probably a ton of other sweaters that I, you know, can use in its stead. So yeah, that's fine by me. You know, it's $100 back in my pocket, which is always a great thing. So let's move on to the next sweater. So the next sweater is actually one that I'm currently wearing, and this is, again, another open cardigan. It doesn't have any buttons on it, and the sleeves are quite long. I think it's made out of 100% wool, or it might be a wool blend, but it is slightly scratchy. I have actually, well, first of all, I have a turtleneck under, but the turtleneck has short sleeves, and so I can feel it rub against my bare skin on my arms, and it is slightly scratchy. The material's a little bit thicker than I would like, so it kind of creates a shape that doesn't form to the body. It has its own kind of shape. But one thing I really like, though, I don't know if it'll come across in the camera, but it has some like ribbing here that I think is a really nice detail. It's not all over the cardigan, it's only probably around the collar area and also the pockets. It has a little bit of sort of ribbing detail on the pocket. I don't like the pockets that kind of just look like a square pasted right on top of the material. It looks a little bit cheap in my mind. I don't know if that's necessarily a thing. I don't know, that just could be what I'm thinking, but I like this one because it kind of flows into the jacket or into the cardigan, so you can't actually see the pocket, but there is a pocket. So this is, I don't know, I'm not really sure if I'm holding it up well, but here's the ribbing, and then here is the pocket. But you see, you can't see like the outline of where the pocket is sewn onto, which I like much better. It's not lined or anything. I like the idea of it, I think, but I'm not sure if I'll keep it. It might be a return just because I feel like it doesn't form to the body as much as I would like. It doesn't have that flowy nature. It kind of has a little bit of a stiffer nature. But I mean, if it did, if it was a little bit flowier and maybe like heavier and maybe the wool was a little bit softer, I think this would be a keep. But again, I think it's approaching to the $100 mark. I think it might have been like 80 something dollars with the sale, and you know, $80 is not something to scoff at. It is still a lot of money, and if I don't really like love it, $80 seems like a little bit of a large commitment for me. So I don't know, I think it might be a return as well. So that is this cardigan, and let's move on to the third one. Okay, so this third one, well, okay, sorry. All of these are really dark, so they're a little bit hard to see, but this is another I'm not even sure what to call it. It's not quite a cardigan. I think on the website they call it maybe like a shawl. What's super unique about this is that it has this extra piece of material that is basically like a scarf. You sort of wrap it around yourself when you wear it. I like the idea that the scarf was kind of attached because it would match essentially with the shawl. I don't know. I'm also on the fence about this one as well. And let me actually show you the pockets, because this is what I was talking about with the previous one, about the pockets kind of looking like an afterthought, in that it looks like it's just sewn on. And at this moment, I can't even find any of the pockets because there's just so much material here. You might be able to see, it's basically like a square piece of fabric sewn right on top of the original fabric. My assumption is that you just sew the 3 sides and then you leave this top side open, so that is the pocket. So it kind of seems like an afterthought. Also, the material is a little bit, I mean, you know, it's a sweater, so of course, you know, you have like little fraying and stuff. I just don't really see this as a staple in my wardrobe. It might just be something that I pull out occasionally, but I probably won't get my money's worth out of it. So I think this also might be a return. That is this. Again, you can't see it. It's just a lot of fabric. So let us move on to the 4th one. Okay, so the dark vibes continue. This is a black cardigan. It's so long, and by long, I mean much longer than the rest of them. This one is kind of almost a duster. I'm quite short, so, you know, most things on me tend to be longer in general. So this one goes all the way down to my ankles. I think this is maybe about $100 as well. It's quite a basic cardigan. It doesn't have any zippers or anything and no buttons. It's just an open cardigan. So yeah, it does have a small little, very skinny faux leather skinny belt. I don't think I'd use it. I tried tying it and I just didn't really like the way that it looked. So if I decide to keep this, I probably will not use the belt like ever. I think personally for me, I just don't really like drop shoulders on my frame. I think I have quite broad shoulders, and every single time I wear clothing with drop shoulders, it always just makes my shoulders look even wider. I really like the knit though. It's like a tighter knit, so this one doesn't have as much like fuzzies coming out, as you can see. It'll probably be super warm, especially because it's really long, because there's not a lot of airflow that can go through the sweater. There's definitely like better options out there. The search for a perfect duster continues, but I think this might be going back. I'd rather just save that $100 towards a sweater that I really do like. Even if it's more, hopefully it's less. So that is this sweater. Now let's move on to the very last and final one. Okay, so I just remembered that the 5th and final one, I don't have it anymore, and that's because I already returned it. That one was just not really for me. I knew instantly. With all these other ones, I'm a little bit on the fence, but leaning towards no. With that other cardigan, I was like immediately no. It was just too much. It kind of made me feel like a peacock or some sort of bird that just had like a lot of feathers hanging out. I think that the fabric of it was just so textured and a little bit lumpy. I just didn't think it was flattering. It made me feel very bulky, like I was 10 pounds heavier than I truly am. It just added so much fabric and it made me feel good in it. I liked it in concept, but I just didn't like it on myself. Anyways, I just talked through 5 different sweaters, and I think all of them I said a maybe, but teetering on no. So I think maybe all of them are going back. It is a little bit of a bummer that none of them worked out, but I am super happy to save all that money because, let's be honest, it was a little bit painful to see how much money was taken on my account when I purchased that order. Those were the sweaters. And yeah, I do look forward to shopping on Zara a lot. I like a lot of their stuff because it seems a little bit more accessible and you still get kind of interesting silhouettes and interesting styles. I think that if you try to buy some of these interesting silhouettes elsewhere, you might end up paying multiple of hundreds of dollars. So yeah, anyways, that is it. And yeah, I will see you later. Okay, so I thought I'd also share my little Lego collection. This has been brewing since COVID. This was my COVID activity. But even though we're somewhat out of COVID, I still wanted to keep going. I'm running out of space in my display case. But yeah, this is the one that I built in the, I don't know, in a previous video. That's it. I thought I'd share since I mentioned my display case full of Legos and I was definitely not kidding.